A man who has no respect for himself will never have respect from others. A man who is weak will never be loved by women. A man that is controlled by his emotions is nothing more than an animal. These are just a few of the things that men hear constantly in this modern world. Most men, unfortunately, take this advice to heart and end up creating an artificial version of themselves. They think that they need to suppress their emotions and act like a stoic robot in order to gain respect. Others seek to become hypergamous, only seeking women who are superior to them. And some go down the opposite route, refusing to take any responsibility and ending up with zero self-respect. But what if there is another way? What if the true path to masculinity lies somewhere in the middle? To answer this question, we will look at one of the greatest novelists of all time, Fyodor Dostoevsky. In one of his most famous pieces of work, he gave us a perfect example of a hero that truly embodied masculinity, a man named Rodion Raskolnikov. Raskolnikov was a poor student who made the decision to kill a greedy old woman. After committing the crime, he began to feel immense guilt, but soon pushed it aside and tried to live his life as normal. However, as the story goes on, his mental state starts to deteriorate. He begins to hallucinate and becomes convinced that the police are after him. Soon he breaks down and confesses to his crime. Now, before we dive into Dostoevsky's philosophy, let's analyze Rodion Raskolnikov's character. We must understand what made him tick. What were his strengths and weaknesses? Raskolnikov had many good qualities. For example, he was intelligent and understood human nature very well. In fact, his intelligence was his downfall because it allowed him to rationalize killing the old woman. He believed that he was above conventional morality and that he was actually doing society a favor by eliminating a useless person. This shows us that rationality can be dangerous if it's not kept in check. Our emotions exist for a reason, and suppressing them is also not a good idea. Raskolnikov paid the price for ignoring his conscience. Another thing that we can learn from Raskolnikov is that we should not let our circumstances define us. Raskolnikov was poor and believed that he had nothing to lose. He was also angry at the injustice of the world. But these feelings of anger and desperation led him down a dark path. You see, when someone is desperate, anything is possible. When a man feels that he has nothing to lose, then he truly loses everything. However, Raskolnikov also showed great strength. It takes a strong person to admit to their crime and face the consequences. Raskolnikov could have easily run away and avoided prison, but he chose to do the right thing. Why did he do this? It was because deep down he knew that he had done something wrong. His conscience was eating away at him. So even though he is a fictional character, we can still learn some valuable lessons from him about life. Now let's dive deeper into the story and examine the philosophical ideas behind it. When reading this book, we must first understand that there are two types of people in the world: those who obey the law and those who break the law. Some may say that it is better to break the law than to obey it. For example, if the government is corrupt and unjust, then it is better to rebel against it. There are definitely times when civil disobedience is justified, such as during the American Revolution or the fight against apartheid in South Africa. But in general, it is better to obey the law. This is because laws are created in order to maintain order and justice. They are not perfect, but they are necessary. If everyone just did whatever they wanted, then society would descend into chaos. However, breaking the law is sometimes necessary in order to uphold justice. For example, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus to a white man. She knew that this was illegal, but she was tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. Her actions sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, which eventually led to the desegregation of buses in the southern United States. So as you can see, breaking the law is sometimes necessary in order to uphold justice. So what did Dostoevsky have to say about this topic? Let's look at two quotes. The first quote is, Everything that is done to the world is done to the man. On the surface, this quote may seem to suggest that we should focus on ourselves rather than on other people. However, this is not what Dostoevsky meant. What he was saying is that we should consider the impact of our actions on others. Before we do something, we should ask ourselves, how will this affect the people around me? We should not just think about our own happiness, but also the happiness of those around us. If we keep this in mind, we will be more likely to make decisions that are in the best interest of everyone. The second quote that we will look at is, "A man who has no respect for himself will never have respect from others." This quote is often used to tell people that they should be more confident and assertive. However, this is not the whole story. Yes, it is important to have confidence and respect from others. But it is also important to remember that we should respect ourselves. This means that we should not lie, cheat, or steal. We should be honest and trustworthy. If we want other people to respect us, then we must first respect ourselves. So as you can see, both of these quotes teach us the importance of considering the impact of our actions on others. They also teach us the importance of being confident and respecting ourselves. But there is much more to these quotes than meets the eye. They are actually about something much darker. Both of these quotes are about the dangers of unchecked ambition. Let me explain. When we set out to achieve our goals, it is important to have confidence and to believe in ourselves. However, if we become too ambitious, and if we start to think that we are better than everyone else, then we will become like Raskolnikov. We will start to believe that we are above conventional morality and that we can do whatever we want. This is what happened to Raskolnikov. He became so obsessed with his own intelligence and his own superiority that he started to believe that he could kill people with impunity. In the end, it was his unchecked ambition that led to his downfall. This is why Dostoevsky was so fascinated with the character of Raskolnikov. He was a man who had everything, but he threw it all away because of his unchecked ambition. Raskolnikov was intelligent and talented, but he was also arrogant and overconfident. He believed that he was better than everyone else and that he was above conventional morality. This led him to commit murder, but it also led to his downfall. Raskolnikov's story is a warning to us all. It is a reminder that we should never let our ambition get the better of us. No matter how smart or talented we are, if we are not careful, we will end up destroying ourselves. Let's take a look at some of the most successful men in the world today. Many of them are extremely ambitious and driven. However, they are also humble, and they know how to stay grounded. They understand the importance of giving back and helping others. They know that success is not just about achieving your own goals, but it's also about helping others achieve their goals as well. In conclusion, the message behind Dostoevsky's work is clear. We should not try to be like Raskolnikov. We should not try to be too smart or too clever. We should not try to be above conventional morality. Instead, we should strive to be like the heroes of Dostoevsky's other novels, men like Prince Myshkin and Ivan Karamazov. These men were flawed, but they were also honest, compassionate, and humble. They were not afraid to show weakness, and they were not afraid to ask for help. This is what it means to be a real man. Not someone who is perfect, but someone who is genuine, authentic, and full of integrity. So remember, brothers, don't be like Raskolnikov. Be like Myshkin and Ivan Karamazov.